Hello friends, Mandar here. I'm back with another video. Today we'll talk about what are the options if you do not get qualified in the lottery for H1B. In other words, your H1B doesn't get picked up in the lottery in the third consecutive year. A lot of people are falling into this trap and they need to know the options. So I'll give you 10 options to consider if you don't get picked up in the H1B lottery. So very important topic guys, share this content with anybody who is interested and let's get started. If you are here for the first time, welcome. My name is Mandar and I make immigration and lifestyle related videos for US and Canada. I'm not an immigration lawyer, so anything that I say on this video or on my channel is for information purpose only. And for your specific immigration needs, before you take any action, you should hire a competent immigration lawyer. So if you are in this situation, do let me know in the comment section below. So today I'm going to give you 10 options that you may have in case you don't get picked up in the H1 lottery in the third consecutive attempt. Now, US employers who are seeking to hire foreign nationals on H1B have to submit their petitions before a certain date every year. There are only 65,000 applications available or petitions available or visa numbers available for H1B in the normal category. And then there are additional 20,000 applicants for people who have pursued higher studies such as masters in the United States. So total of 85,000 visas every year, and they are given in the form of lottery. Now recently they have changed their processing in which there is a multiple step process. The first step is just to make a preliminary application by giving your passport details and some manual details to put your name into the hat. Then USCIS runs a lottery to pick up certain number of individuals that they think will get approved through this application process. And then the invitations are sent out, and based on those invitations, the employer and the employee has to make a full-blown application. Now at this point of time for this year's visa, which is FY25 visa, for H1B lottery, the results are already out. People who know that their application has been selected for further processing already know. Now they are in the process of making a full-blown application. Now what if your application has not been picked yet? It is a precarious situation because if you are on the third attempt, especially for people who are on student visa, they only have 3 attempts if they are studying in STEM. The reason is their first year of OPT and then 2 more subsequent extensions of OPT if you are in STEM. So 3 years of OPT after your student visa. So within these 3 years, you have to secure your H1B or any other work permit that you can get to study and continue your job in the United States. Now, if you don't get picked up even in the third attempt, then you have something to think about, because now you need to transfer your visa to some other visa categories or choose some other options. So what do? Let me go through one by one 10 options for you. Not all of them will be applicable to you, but you might want to think about all of these options and see which one best fits your needs. Okay, let's start with the option number 1, which is O1 visa. Now, if you look at the O1 visa eligibility requirements, it is given for individuals with exceptional talent or exceptional abilities. Now, where are these exceptional abilities? It is individual with extraordinary ability or achievement. So O1 visa is for the individuals who possess extraordinary ability in the field of science, arts, education, business, or athletics, or who has demonstrated a record of extraordinary achievement in the motion picture television industry and has been nationally or internationally recognized for those achievements. Now these requirements are very similar or very close to EB1A requirements, but regardless, if you don't have that, O1 is easier to get than EB1A. Now EB1A is the immigrant petition, O1 is non-immigrant visa. It is given for 3 years at the beginning and then 1 year increments until you can prove that you are still doing those or qualified for those extraordinary abilities. Now this visa you can apply for yourself. So if you are a sports person, if you are a television personality, if you are a YouTuber and so on, this will be an excellent visa for you to convert to if you don't qualify in H1. And that brings me to the sponsor of today's video. Have you ever done the Google search of your own name? Look what I have found when I did mine. Here's what comes up. While some of this information is relevant, the other makes me uncomfortable that my information is exposed for a sale like this. Data brokers sell your information to scammers, spammers, or anybody else who may want to target you.
Your full name, email address, home address, your relatives' names, health information, it's all out there. That's why I have been using Aura, sponsor of today's video. Aura shows me which data brokers are selling my information and automatically submits opt-out request for me. Cleaning up my information not only helps reduce the amount of spam I get, but it also protects me from hackers who could use this information to help them access my social media accounts, bank accounts, or other sensitive information. Aura does so much more to protect my information and my family's information from online threats I can't see. I get other features like antivirus, VPN, password management, parental controls, identity theft insurance, and more without having to download several different apps. It's really easy to set up, and best of all, I get everything for one affordable price. You may already have one or two of these tools, but not having Aura is like locking the front door but leaving your back door wide open. Aura is always on, doing the hard work of keeping me safe so I can focus on other tasks with peace of mind. I value my privacy and I value yours. You can go to my link which is on the screen and in the description and start your free 2 weeks trial. So protect your information, your family, and have a peace of mind. That's Aura.
Now in this particular situation, you will need to provide some evidences that you have extraordinary capabilities. You will have to provide ongoing engagement in this field and recognitions in this field. So there is a lot of documentation involved, so you should hire a good lawyer for you to consider O1 visa. Now once you have the O1 visa, your spouse O3, unfortunately they cannot get an EAD, but you will qualify for EB1A. Most of the O1 visa candidates also do qualify for EB1A. So that is the next step after the O1, because those requirements are very similar. On that note, I am continuously doing the masterclass on EB1A. You might want to check the description for my upcoming masterclass on EB1A next week. Okay, so that was option number 1. Get in touch with me if you want to know more details about O1 visa. I have made special videos on O1 visa you might want to check out on my channel. Not many requirements have changed in the recent years, so that video is still available and applicable. Now let's move on to our second option, which is second master's or PhD. Now this is a common option that a lot of students choose if they fail to obtain H1B in their third attempt. So what they do is they have to go back to the college or university where they studied, do either a second master's, which will give them back their F1 status and also be eligible for unused OPT and CPT. There is also day 1 CPT in universities where you can take an admission and continue with your job, but I wouldn't recommend the day 1 CPT options because that could be considered fraudulent or suspicious by USCIS. Because ultimately what it comes down to is university saying that you will get an admission in our university for full time, but by the way, you don't have to join the college, you can just continue to work. Is that realistic? Well, some universities do that, but I wouldn't recommend that option. So what is another option is to go back on F1 and do your master's or PhD, and that way you can stay back in the United States, get your second degree and continue with your H1B applications in the future. So that is option number 2. Again, there are a lot of intricate details in these options as well. You may know a lot of other students that may have taken this option, but if you want to talk to me, do contact me on this one. Now the third option is cap exempt H1B. Now what does cap exempt H1B do? Now the cap exempt H1B precludes you from going through the H1B lottery. Basically what it says is, if it's a non-profit organization or a research-based organization such as university or hospital and so on, they can actually apply for your H1B cap exempt. Cap exempt means they don't have to have you go through the lottery. They can just file for your H1B anytime without any cap subject number. They can get you an H1B. Now this is an option if you are already in the university, if you are doing a job for your university, you don't need to go through this H1B lottery. Or if you are working for a research-based organization, you will not need to go through the lottery and you will directly get your H1B. The only downside to it is you cannot transfer that H1B in the future to a cap subject H1B. If you had to do that, then you will need to go through the cap subject or cap subject lottery in that case. But regardless, this is an option for you if you are already working in the education or non-profit organization or capped exempt organization where they can file your H1B. There are more details to it. Again, you want to be careful about applying for this option, but that is available for you. At the same time, there is also concurrent H1B filing that can be done. What does concurrent H1B do is it allows you to work for multiple H1B petitioners at the same time to complete your 40 hours or complete your full-time job. In case you have an employer that is not willing to give you full hours, they may give you a primary H1B and then you can file for a secondary or concurrently file H1B with a second company that will give you another set of hours that will complete your full-time job commitment. You have to be careful on this concurrently file H1B because you'll need to fulfill your H1B obligations for your primary applicants in case there is a job loss. But regardless, this is also an option. Now let's look at option number 4, which is obvious. Obvious in the sense if you are married to H1B holder, you can get on to their dependent visa. So you can basically transfer from your EAD OPT to H4 or O3 or L2 and so on visas. So if your spouse already has a work visa, you can go on as their dependent. So that is another option. Some of these dependent visa categories also give you authorization to work, such as EAD. L2 is a classic example where you can work on L2 visa, or H4 EAD is also an option, but only in the certain scenarios. But if you want to continue to work and your visa, dependent visa category does not allow you to work, then this might not be an option for you, except for the reason of staying back in the United States. So let's look at the option number 5. What is it? It is B1, B2 visa. Now dependent visa can be different, but B1, B2 can be also a visa available to you, which is a visitor visa. Now on this visitor visa, if you apply for your job, USCIS clearly says that you will be allowed to apply for your job, apply for job applications, do the interviews, but before starting the job that you get, you'll still need to get a proper non-immigrant work visa. So that is the only downside of it, but this visa will allow you to stay back in the United States and continue to apply for job, either H1B or H1B cap exempt petitions. Whatever the case may be, that could be your bridging visa to get to a permanent another visa. B1, B2 visa is kind of tricky. You'll have to go through a lawyer because this is a change of status from your F1 to B1, B2, and that could be tricky because then you are misrepresenting your intent because you are trying to stay back in the United States on the pretext of getting a job through B1, B2. So that could be a kind of a confusing scenario for a USCIS officer. So don't leave the country if you want to come back on B1, B2. If you want to stay back on B1, B2 because you want to do the change of status within the United States from F1 to B1 in this particular scenario. Again, this may not be for everybody, so watch my next option. The next option is TN visa. This is option number 6. The TN visa is only available for Canadians and Mexicans. So there is a treaty, NAFTA treaty, or now it's called USMCA, which is basically a treaty between United States, Canada, and Mexico. Through this treaty, if you are a citizen of Canada or Mexico, you qualify for a TN visa. Now, Canadians in particular can get this TN visa at the border, at the road crossing. You really don't need to apply for it in the consulate. You can just cross the border into the United States. And if you have a good job offer and a petition that qualifies you for the TN visa, you can get the TN visa right at the border. It's just a stamp that they do while crossing into the United States. Now they give you for initially 3 years and then you can apply for extensions every 3 years. The only thing is you have to go back to the border to get this extension for the next 3 years. TN visa is really good because it allows you to live in the United States for 3 years at a time and then there is no limit on the extensions. Technically there is no limit, but there could be questions asked if you try to use this visa permanently. So even if you are on TN, eventually you should think about applying for a green card. So that was option number 6. Now let's look at option number 7. Now option number 7 is E2 visa. E2 is a treaty visa. Now this E2 visa is only available for treaty countries, and this is the list of the treaty countries that you can go through and check if your country is available or covered under this visa. India is not covered by this visa, so it might not be applicable for you, but if you are coming from any other country such as Canada, UK, Mexico, Philippines and so on, you may be eligible for this visa. Now what does this visa say? That it allows a national of a treaty country, a country with which United States has maintained a treaty of commerce and navigation, or with which United States maintains a qualifying international agreement to be admitted to the United States when investing a substantial amount of capital in the US business. Certain employees of such person or qualifying organization may also be eligible for this classification of visa. So basically, if you are, it is kind of like EB5, but this is non-immigrant visa. It will allow you to invest in the US businesses, and this amount is not as high as million or million 1.5 1.8 million. You can qualify with as low as 50,000 or 100,000 US dollars. So this is a great visa for all those treaty countries that may allow you to remain in the United States, do an investment in the US business, and apply for E2 visa. So this will also be a change of status from your F1 to E2. So that was option number 7, E2 visa. Now let's look at option number 8, which is E3 visa. Now E3 visa is available for Australian citizens only. Basically, if you are from Australia, you will qualify for this visa to work in the United States with a certain number of years. You get it for 2 years at a time, and then you can extend it by another year or so. Again, this option for E3 visa is only available for Australian citizens, and it will temporarily allow you to remain in the United States if you don't qualify for H1B or H1B lottery. So E3 visa was option number 8. Now let's look at option number 9, which is Canadian visa. So I always advise people who are in the United States on student visa to also seek out for Canadian option. Now Canada offers point-based system for their PR, which is permanent residency, which is based on your age, your education, your number of years of experience, and so on. So the younger you are, if you missed out on the H1B in the United States, Canada could be a very good option for you. You can get a Canadian work permit pretty easily if you have a job offer. That's even easier. But even sitting in the United States, it allows you to apply for Canadian jobs and get interviews and even get selected in a Canadian job. So if you get a job, it's even easier for you to get a work permit. And once you get a work permit, once you're in Canada, you can apply for Canadian PR after 1 year, after you get that Canadian job related experience points. So once you get enough CRS points, you could apply for your permanent residency through express entry. So this is a really good option. Anybody who is studying in the United States, especially from India, who has to rely on this H1B, should also think about applying for Canadian visa. Canada is a great country. I have lived there. I have numerous videos on Canada immigration and Canadian visas, and you might want to check them out on my channel. Do reach out to me if you want to follow this option. This is a great option if you don't qualify for H1B or if you don't get picked up in the H1B lottery. There are a lot of companies who allow you to work from Canada or even are willing to transfer you to their Canadian entity to continue with the current job. So think about this option, as this is option number 9. And then option number 10 is directly apply for EB1A or EB2 NIW. These are self-petitioning immigrant option that you don't have to rely on anybody, any employer. These are self-petitioning. For these two immigrant visas, you can self-petition. Now, the reason I say EB1A is because if you have already gone through PhD or something like that, or if you have few number of years of experience, and if you have certain qualifications that qualify you for your exceptional ability, you may qualify directly for EB1A. And if your priority date is current, you will immediately be able to apply concurrently for your 485 along with your I-140. That will put you into a valid status and also get you an EAD. So you'll skip all this H1B stuff and go directly into the green card path. So think about this option. Another is a EB2 NIW, which is also a self-petitioning, but in that you'll still need to maintain your non-immigrant status because EB2 for India is not current. So that is a long shot, but regardless, it is also an option. There are other ways to apply for green card while you are on OPT, such as family-based green card if you qualify or if you have some close family member, and so on. So think about all these 10 options. Not all of them will be applicable to everybody. I realize that, but I just thought I will give you some options because a lot of people are contacting me on this particular issue. What do I do now that my H1 was not picked up in the third attempt? So I hope you got some value out of this video. Do share this video with as many people who you know are impacted by this H1B lottery system. Hopefully they will be able to pick up any one of these options. And if I have missed any option, do put that in the comment section below. I would like to know. Also, I would like to remind that I have my masterclass on EB1A coming up next Sunday at 11 o'clock Eastern time. So if you haven't signed up so far, do sign up because the seats are filling up fast. I'm doing these classes in small chunks so that people get option to ask me questions in the class as well. So see you there. So if you like the content of this video, do hit the like button and consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one.